Do you want the truth about the martingale? Well, I'll tell you the truth about the martingale. It's not dangerous. It is only dangerous for those who cannot handle the tension. 500 euros. Bitcoin. Martingale. 3.5 years later, it became 46,000 euros. And today, I give you the code to do this. Free. Do you know what's the funniest thing about all this? That even if I give you the numbers, most of you will come here looking for flaws. Because obviously, it's easier to criticize than to build something, right? It's easier to say, sooner or later it'll blow up than to actually try to withstand a drawdown. Clearly, I could sell this stuff. I could make the classic video in Dubai with a Lamborghini in the background. Put the bot up for sale at 999 euros. Just like everyone else does, tell you it's the ultimate one, that it'll change your life, and surely someone would buy it. But I don't make a living selling bots. I don't make a living selling courses. I withdraw money from the markets, and when you withdraw from the markets, you don't need to prove anything to anyone, and you don't need to sell anything to anyone. Welcome everyone, I'm Andrea, your automated trader, and if you like what I do, leave a nice like. Like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos I'll be posting. Now let's look at the numbers so we can stop talking. So here we are on MetaTrader. Let's take our Martingale RSI bot, because after all, it's a bot based on the RSI, so it works with this indicator using the Martingale strategy. Let's select a custom period. I chose from mid-2022 up to today. Real ticks. This way, no one can say anything, because this is the most accurate method. Let's start the test and see what happens. Oh, initial capital is 500 euros, so we're not talking about hedge funds here, or very wealthy people with 100,000 euros in their account. 500 euros, within everyone's reach, really. So, a small normal account, nothing special. Let's see how this test goes. All right, here we are. The backtest is finished. As you can see, we started with 500 euros and ended up with 46,000 euros. Incredible, right? Of course, there were tough moments here, like these drawdowns you can see here. Here, most of you would definitely have closed your positions. Maybe during this big drawdown here, someone would have started saying, but Martingale doesn't work. Maybe even here, when we were in a drawdown, you would have started changing risks, tinkering with the experts. Not me, I don't do anything. I set it up. I let my expert run and I don't touch anything else until the last trade. Don't pay attention to this last loss here, because this is when the program stopped. At that moment, maybe it was losing something. So it's clear that it tells you it lost, right? But here, if it had kept running, it probably would have recovered. Remember that Martingale can still lead to blowing up your accounts. That's clear. It's true, but here we're talking about 500 euros. So if you're not ready to risk 500 euros, where do you think you're going? I mean, if you're not ready to risk 500 euros, then go to the post office. Then get some savings bonds. At least you're sure you won't lose money. Maybe. The code isn't the advantage. The advantage is in your mind. The real advantage is knowing how much capital you need and not panicking when you're losing. This I can't give you for free, but I can only give you the code. So guys, these are the settings. If you want to try my configurations, go ahead. But as I always say, find your own, try to optimize the expert a bit. And choose the one you like best for the type of trading you do. You don't necessarily have to use what I do. Anyway, here you can see them. These are all the settings I configured to run the backtest I showed you. All right, let's take a look at the code. Let's see how this expert is built at its core. So this is the code of the expert advisor. It's similar to what we did in previous times because I had already made other experts that worked with Martingale. Of course, the starting base for the grid and so on is always the same. So as input, we have the Martingale, meaning the Martingale inputs. What's included? The grid points, the initial lot size, and the multiplier. And then you have the target, obviously. In this expert, when I tried to find the right settings, I worked using a slightly larger lot size and a small multiplier. Because Bitcoin moves a lot, so I needed to have room to move before it burns the account. So in this case, that's how I worked. Then we work with the RSI to build this expert. So I have all the values related to the RSI, the time frame, the RSI period, and the buy and sell levels. Why also the sell? Because initially I created the expert to make it work both in buy and in sell. Then when I saw that things went much better on Bitcoin using only buy, I stopped using sell. Anyway, I'll show you what I had written for the sell as well. The last parameter is the magic number. And then we have the global variable with the RSI handle. On init, We only have the RSI handle and we set the magic, as always. This is important because if you don't set the magic and you want to use this expert together with others, then what happens is that the positions get mixed up. It gets a bit messy. Let's take a look at a tick. Obviously, well, we have the RSI array, which needs to be a double the copy buffer to save the RSI values. We save the close just like we've done before. And then there's this whole part, which is pretty much always the same because that's the part that does the work, the expert on Martingale. So we never change it because this is the foundation of our expert. If you want to understand all of this in detail, you'll find previous videos where I explained line by line what we're doing. So here I'm going a little bit faster. The only thing I'll point out is, you see, here too I've added the magic number. So everything is independent and there won't be any mix-ups between the positions of different experts if they're running together. Let's get to where we enter a position. So the buy entry. Let's take the buy entry as an example. What do I check? That there are no open positions in order to make the first entry. This is the first entry. These few lines of code here are for the first entry into a position. And then simply I look for an RSI that is lower than the value I've set. At that point, I enter the position. How does the martingale work here? Here it works a bit differently from how we've done it up to now. So I check not only that I'm beyond the grid points I've set, but I also want the RSI to be lower than this RSI value. Go. So I have two conditions that both need to be true. In fact, I've put these two ends. If I wanted to use either one condition or the other, here I would have had to use the two vertical bars. Here, clearly, we just enter the position, and that's it. That's it. It was the same for the cell. But the cell, since it wasn't working, what did I do? I didn't delete it because maybe in another market, I might need to do the cell as well, right? So I put this slash with the asterisk and slash with the asterisk. What does that mean? Basically, this whole gray part becomes commented out, and the program doesn't execute it. If you want to use this expert for something else, just remove these two things. So the asterisk and the slash here, and the asterisk and the slash here. And it will also execute these lines of code. And so it will work in sell as well as in buy. At the bottom, as always, there's the function for closing positions. So here too, the magic number has been added. Don't mess things up with other positions opened by other experts. Simple, a very short program, as you can see, 170 lines. If we were to remove this part here for the cell, if we eliminated it, we'd probably be down to about 150 lines of code. Truly an extremely short expert advisor with a very simple logic, but as you've seen, it works more than excellently. So let's do something simple. If we reach 50 comments, not 50 views or likes, but 50 real comments, I'll give you the ready-to-use file of the expert advisor I showed you in this video. Let's see how many are ready and how many would rather just sit here and watch. The market doesn't reward those who are afraid, it rewards those who can hold on. If the expert advisor I showed you in this video seems truly incredible to you, as it actually is, then share this video with a friend on WhatsApp, because that's how money circulates. Alright, see you in the next video.